Hello, welcome to Tonalist Painting with M. Francis McCarthy. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and trying something new and experimental today. I've had a lot of requests for people to see my palette, and this is what I'm going to try and make work. Now, we'll just talk a little bit about my palette and the colors so that you kind of have some insight into my approach. And I should say, first of all, I have a studio here in it's a public place. It's a public, I have a little gallery in the front here. It's a very small gallery, but this is a tourist season. People do come in. So you may see pauses and gaps and things like that. What I intend to do is just kind of build this up incrementally as we go. So let's talk about the colors of my palette. I'm going to give you a rundown here. This is the white that I use. It's actually a combination of, oh, by the way, 90% of the colors that I use are Gamblin. I think Gamblin is an excellent company, and I use them for pretty much everything. In fact, you'll hear what I use them for and what I don't coming up here. The white, I use Gamblin titanium white, but I mix it with lead white. This is something I do to get the benefits of both. I find that the titanium white is it's too opaque, it's too bright, and it's too slow drying, whereas lead white on its own is it's quick drying, but it's quite transparent in some cases. So this to me is a win-win. It's 50% of each. It's a big part of what I do. The yellow that I use is Hansa Yellow Medium. It's from Gamblin, and it's very close to cadmium yellow. The reason for not using cadmium is because it doesn't get on well with lead. Lead and cadmium don't mix. Now moving on here. Like I said, we're going to have some stops and starts today. Yellow ochre, I use a lot of that. I use a brand called Georgian, Dale Around Georgian. This is actually student grade, but it's such an inexpensive pigment it hardly matters. This color, transparent earth yellow from Gamblin, very interesting color. I use that for glazing a lot. Moving on, raw umber, also from Georgian. Again, it's an earth color, it's inexpensive pigment, and I use tons of it, so I like to buy it in these big fat tubes. You could use Gamblin, but to me it's unnecessary expense. This here is a mixture of my own. This is a green I make, and it's a mixture of Hansa yellow and black, okay, and that's my favorite earth green. Sometimes you might notice I don't have any phthalo green on here. Sometimes I use phthalo for certain projects, but not today. I won't need it. At least I don't think I'll need it. And if I don't have it on my palette in a pinch, I'll just go with some of this phthalo blue, you know. Anyway, moving on. This is permanent orange, just permanent orange from Gamblin. Very handy color. Use it to modify greens a lot. Use it to counteract blues in the skies. Lots of times I'll mix it with yellow to get the whole range of warm yellows. You might see a lot of artists have a bunch of different yellows on their palette, but me, I just use the orange and the yellow, and I get there. This is a very interesting color called Perline Red. Actually, it's right here in the tube. It's from Gamblin, and I like Perline Red. It's kind of like a cadmium red. Again, the cadmiums don't mix with the lead, so I have to find safe alternatives that are light fast. And the main reason for Perline Red, I don't use it very often, but you'll see me using it today because of the scene we're going to go after. It's got a lot of reds, pinks, and purples. And the main red I use is the burnt sienna, which is actually not really burnt sienna. It is transparent earth red from Gamblin. And it is the same color as if you buy burnt sienna from Winsor Newton. So, anyway, moving on. Well, now we're going to see how well these paints stick to the glass here. Anyway, alizarin crimson, handy to have, strong color, has a lot of uses. Also from Gamblin. This is alizarin permanent. Speaking of permanent, it's permanent green light. I use this, I never use it straight up like it is, it's too bright, but Well, you mix that with a little bit of this, raw umber, or with the yellow ochre, or it's handy to have. It's very handy. Cobalt blue, and a very expensive pigment, but pretty critical to have. I don't like ultramarine blue, so this is my main blue, and this is my auxiliary blue, and that is phthalo blue. Okay. Well, I see it as a warm blue and a cool blue, and in a lot of the cases I do that across the boards. I have a warm yellow and a cool yellow. I have a warm red and a cool red. Actually, two cool reds if you count alizarin crimson. Anyway, moving on. Ivory, good old ivory black. You know, the much maligned ivory black. I like it, and I use a ton of it now. And you're going to see we're going to be doing our drawing stage with that. Now I'm hoping I'm not going to be blocking the camera here with my shoulder. I've noticed that happens sometimes. As a matter of fact, I might just take a little minute here and move things. Well, we'll get through the whole thing because we're almost done. This is a gray I mixed from the black and the white, and it's just super handy for me to have. I can take this gray, I could add any of these colors to it and start painting. It's a neutral. I try and shoot for a 50% gray, but maybe it's more of a 60. I don't like it too light. Anyway, let's pause the camera, and I'm going to move this a little bit. We're going to paint today is it's got a tree in it, and it's kind of a country scene, but it's all cast in rusts and purples and reds. And so normally what I would do is I've got my board all prepped, and I guess this is a good point in time to mention I have a mailing list now, and I'm really interested in getting those of you that follow me on the channel to subscribe to the mailing list, because there's certain techniques I just don't like putting out there for the entire world. I just feel that they're sort of special, and one of those would be how I do my board prep. Now, if you sign up for my mailing list, first thing you're going to see is an email in your box with a link to a video that shows you how to do my board prep. So if that interests you, go for it. Long story short, though, it's basically gesso on MDF, but a few secret special techniques there worth looking into. Now let's go ahead and mix some colors. Now, what I like to do is I like to pre-mix maybe 6 to 8 colors. So, and I set out to do the sky first, and I usually set out to do the darkest tones in the sky. And the darkest tones of my sky are sort of a purple. You know what I'm missing here, guys? I'm missing the purple. I am missing the purple. I'm going to pop that on. So sorry about that. Please bear with me. This is a whole new territory we're into right now. I like dioxine purple from Gamlin. Tried a lot of different light fast purples. I think that's the best, you know. Okay, we're back. Like I said, there's going to be some interruptions. Anyway, I believe I was talking about mixing the colors for the sky. So, and we had to add some purple here. Really, it's more of a red. Like I said, I'm not usually working up here. My palette's usually down here, but that's okay. Now you can see where this gray comes in handy. And one thing about sky colors is sometimes in your reference they can be pretty dark, but and you'll see a lot of times if you watch my videos where I'm doing yeah, I didn't even add any of that purple, and I'm pretty close to the color I want. Anyway, I was saying now this is a small painting, so I don't mix a lot of color. As a matter of fact, I could really just paint this straight up with no premix, but that's color numero uno, and the next color, of course, is going to be related to it. Now, color mixing is a very intuitive process. You really, I mean, one of the reasons I haven't bothered sharing my Yeah, definitely. This is where the perline comes in. You can see that the that was burnt sienna and orange I added, but I definitely need a color that's going to relate better to this. And then sometimes I end up with a little too much, maybe go a bit the wrong direction. What I'll do is I'll set that aside and we'll bring that back in and get some white here. Of course that's too light, but it's getting a little closer. Getting a little closer. Alizarin Crimson. And this color, Raw Umber, is going to kill some of that vivid quality. There you go. That's looking pretty good. It's maybe a little too... I'm going to add some of that purple that I got out. So I try and hit the big colors, dark, medium, and light. I keep things off to the side. I'm going to have colors like that down here and similar in the landscape portion. But that be number 2 sky color. And we're going to get into some ochre tones. Now, it's very interesting that the ochre meets the purple, meets the alizarin. Now, see, there's a lot of color in this, and this is where I'm going to kill the color in a warm way using that raw umber. I definitely want to go lighter, but I'm in the right place there. And just, a bit of challenge for me mixing up in the air like this, but hey, it's all for you. It's all for you, my loyal YouTube subscriber. Okay, I'm kind of liking that. That's pretty good. Now, I don't overwork this. I don't overthink it. I can modify these. In fact, I often do modify these colors when I'm actually doing the painting, but a little placeholder. And I think the last thing we're going to do is something very light. So we might even have enough color tint here. Take some of that white. I never use white straight up. That's just not me. I don't know if anyone should, really. You should always hold off. Maybe for that one speck of light in the subject's eye or something like that. You could do. That's going to be too much yellow. But so my lightest color is going to be off-white cream. Pretty happy with that. Sometimes if I feel it's a little too vivid, a little bit of that raw umber again. There we go. That's probably enough. Now, you notice I've got some contaminating. I keep a little phone book, an old phone book, and I use that for getting rid of my extra paint because it saves on paper towels, don't you know? And you can use a lot of paper towels too. Always have a paper towel handy to wipe off those knives. It's good to keep your knives clean. So that's it for the sky. And, ooh, paper towels, we love them. That's it for the sky. Now, I always clean off my sky colors before getting into the darks I mix, because what you don't want is, you don't want muddy darks. Whoa. Gravity. Gravity, our friend the gravity. Right, so my darkest darks. Okay, for a long time I would mix my alizarin crimson with a phthalo green, and that was my darkest dark, and I painted that way for 4 or 5 years, maybe 6, I don't know. But now it's black, just plain old black. I put a nice hunk of black there. Now the black I use, I didn't mention this, it is ivory black, but I use a special ivory black from Gamlin. It's called Fast Matte. It's quick dry because the ivory black is a very slow dryer, and I've had problems, so I use the Fast Matte. Now, in this mixture here with this green, I use just plain old ivory black. And in this mixture here with the gray, I use plain old ivory black. But here, for my black, it's going to be my darkest color. It's just, it's Fast Matte. It's a quick drying alkaloid black. Next color, we're into greens. Usually I'm going to go for my darkest green. So this is kind of a premix green. This is the yellow and black. And the great thing about this green is it's so earthy, right? It's already, like these kinds of greens are too bright. They don't look like the colors of nature. I maybe put a little of that in there. But I want, and one of the secrets of the way I paint is I throw a lot of reds into my greens. So because this is going to be a dark green, I'm going to throw a lot of this alizarin in here. It looks like I got a little contamination, but that's alright. A little bit ain't going to hurt. And if it's not dark enough, maybe some more black. Now you don't need to overmix your colors on the palette. That's not a good plan. You just basically get it kind of there. And that's good enough. Do a decent amount of this. Now, sometimes I maybe mix a little too much. This is a very small painting, so I'm not going to need a lot of paint. Usually I scrape it off. Dark green. Dark green. We don't need to clean this up too much because the next color is going to be this. And I don't really have any of this. In fact, maybe we'll make a little here in a minute. I'm going to throw in some of this burnt sienna. That's nice. You'd be amazed how much red you could throw into a green and still have it perceptually appear to be green. Now these colors are very close, so put some of that over there. I don't want to go with that. I'm going to go with this. This will be, that would be give me too bright of a green. I don't want that. That's why the yellow ochre is going to be just the thing. I want to differentiate my greens. That's good. Okay, and as far as the slightest green goes, I can do it or not. We'll see. I mean, I could. It's really, actually, one of my favorite things to do is to take that green I just mixed and add some of this orange. It's not a super strong color, as you'll see. Oh yeah, I'm liking that. What you wouldn't want to do is get into a lot of this. You're going to get a real bright, icky color, maybe a little. Because really what's creating most of the green in this color here is it's just black mixed with yellow that's creating the green, which goes on to prove one of my big color theory points, that yellow is usually green. Unless you start adding red to it, it's going to give you a green of some type, a greenish tone. That's not super light. I'll throw it in there. Now, the last thing is I have some stuff in the ground. It's going to be a path. And that's not too far off. Let's see what happens when we just add white to this. It'll be too bright. I know that. It'll be too pink. Too bright, too pink. But too bright, too pink. But we're going to take our... I didn't need any of that. It's just making sure it's not going to fall off the palette here. So you can see I'm in a pretty public little spot here. That's where I do all my paintings here. Okay, I'm going to keep that as dark part of the path. And I'm going to take some of this off the back and a little more of this. Now, one thing I like about raw umber is it makes a really nice tan. It goes off into the greens, kind of. Well, that's not very nice, is it? Let's go ahead and grab some of that. This transparent earth yellow. Transparent earth yellow is very much like yellow ochre. It's like if you add white to that transparent earth yellow, you're going to get into a yellow ochre. Now, my painting I'm doing has a real saturated tone underlying it, so I'm thinking a little orange. Now, keeping in mind that this permanent orange is not, it's not a super strong color. That's a nice tan. Still a little on the light side. I think I'm going to add some more of this now. That's the raw umber. Okay, I like that. That's good. Now, we may find when I'm actually starting my painting, which will be probably after lunch, we just have to see how much things slide while I go to lunch today. We have enough time actually to get to the drawing, but I'll be right back. Okay, yeah, phone calls, things happen, you get interrupted. You know, since we've got a minute here before, so I'm pretty much at the point where I would start doing my underpainting, my drawing, and but one thing I like to do is I've got some areas here on the palette that are a little diminished, like I'm going to need more of that orange. I've run out of my pre-mixed green, which I'll show you how I make here, and we need some yellow ochre. So, you know, it's good to get these things on the palette before you really get involved with painting. You know, you can stop and grab the tube. In fact, I do it all the time. But okay, this is how I make Mike's green. That's what they call it. One day gambling will sell this. One day they'll sell it. You be careful not to put too much yellow down. I think I might have already, but I don't mind a good glop of that. And like I say, I use the Gamblin. If you guys want to sponsor me, I'll use your colors across the boards. But until then, I'm using for my ivory black, I'm using Georgian. It's cheaper, it's good quality, and I go through tons of it. So let's mix this up and see what kind of green we get. Now, unlike some of these colors I mix here, you want this well mixed, no question. Look how it's magic. It turns into green. Sometimes I don't mind if it's veering on the dark. This is actually coming out good. Pretty good. What's not good is if it's too light. That's not good. Then you find yourself keep having to add black and add black. But you want that well mixed. Now that might be too big a chunk to put up there all at once. I'm just going to grab a portion of it. Yeah, by the way, if you follow me on Instagram, you know I usually paint on something like this as my palette. And we're going to store that extra green there. And I usually keep that just below here, and that works great for me. And God knows I'm not going to do every painting I do up in the air like this, but I've been meaning to try this for a while and give you kind of a live, it's going to be a pretty long video or series of videos. I might do a series where today we will get through the underpainting and the first color pass. Alright. So anything else missing here? I'm going to squish you down a little, dude. Yep, okay. Oh, yeah, we need some more of this orange. Permanent orange light. Now, I tried a lot of different oranges out. A lot of CAD hues and things like that. But this is really good. It's PO62. It's monoacetylene. Yeah, it's orange. It's a synthetic color, but it's a beautiful color. I like how it's strong, but it's not too strong. It's not overwhelming. Yeah. And then they had a few other, Gamblin sells another color. It's like a mixture of these two together. Now I don't see any point in that because I like to work with my pigments as pure as possible. Alright, so pop all the paints aside. Maybe a little more black while we're at it. A little more black. All right, fast matte. This stuff's really stiff in the tube, man. You gotta really work to get it out. We'll see how it does vertically too, because there's a lot of times I have to add quite a lot of oil to things, to the black, to get it to move. It's very stiff, not much oil in this paint, and that's okay. I work with it. The good thing is that it dries quick. Okay, so that's it for now. We've done our colors. We've got everything pre-mixed. Now, what I like to do, and this is a good tip for you too, you know, say you're one of these people that has trouble getting motivated, you know, to paint. Well, you know, go through and pre-mix your colors, and you know, say before you go to lunch or something, and instead of just getting lost in all those errands or what have you, you're gonna know these colors are sitting there waiting for you. You have work to do. And that's a great tip and a great trick that I use. Yeah. Not that I have to be that motivated to paint. I love painting. That's all I really want to do. You know, hopefully I'm not wearing you guys out with all the marketing stuff I'm doing, but you know, if you're a good artist, you owe it to your work. You have to get out there and sell it. You know, if you think that you can create 2,000 paintings and keep them under your bed, and then when you die, you know, the gallery's going to line up to get them from your estate. That's probably not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Anyway, another aside. So, I'm going to take a pause here, and we're going to get into the drawing. And then we're going to, this afternoon, it's still morning here, it's about 10:30. We'll get the drawing done. It won't take that long. And then we'll take a break for lunch, and we'll come back and do the first color pass. So, I'll see you soon. Okay, we're back. Still before lunch here, but let's talk about brushes. This is a brand I like. It's Robert Simmons Signet. These are awesome. I've been using a lot of these smaller. These are super cheap. These are the DOS bristle filberts, and once you break them in, they're not actually bad. They tend to drop more hairs, but we're using this to draw with today. I'm going to probably use these. I may even pull in another brush. I like to have my brushes out, down, ready to go. I've got a whole, you know, jar full of brushes to the left of me here. But these are the ones I'm using today. These are 4s. And a 4, you know, you might think I could do the whole painting with the, this is a 2. But I'd be doing most of this painting with the 4s, and that works out well for 5x5, 5x7s. Once I get into larger sizes, sometimes I move into the 6s and 8s and 10s and on up from there. As we move down to 3x5s, 3.5x5, be like that. I tend to do most of the 3.5x5s with these, you know, because that's just a little too much there. But now, I keep my medium in this little container. It's very nice. I don't know where my lid is, but it doesn't really matter because I gotta clean it out every day anyway. Where's my lid? There's the lid. Got this at the antique shop. That's nice. Yep. I don't use the lid much, but it's nice. It's there. It's handy. This is my medium. Now, no real secret. You could use any kind of oil. I like this one because it's oily, and it's an alkoid based. This is Archival Odorless Lean. I've been painting with this for many years. Prior to this, I was painting with liquid. Liquid costs more, and it works just as well. Liquid kind of starts thinning out as you brush with it. You know, this stuff is pretty much thin right out of the gate. And you notice I didn't put a lot in there because this stuff, if you leave it overnight or whatever, it's gonna dry in the thing. And you can see I've had to scrape this thing millions of times. So anyway, first thing I like to do with my oil is I get my brush and I dip it in there, get some oil in the brush. Sometimes this might be, depending on what I'm painting, this might be all the oil I add, but we're going to be drawing with this black here, so I'm going to take a chunk of this, and you can see it's very stiff, very thick. Kind of a mess. That's alright. Well, we're working vertically. We're just gonna... It's all for you. It's all for you, gentle YouTuber. By the way, mailing list, store. You know, I've got a store and I've got a mailing list. And if you can't buy something off the store right away, maybe you're, maybe you're poor. I don't know. Maybe you just want to fill your house with your own paintings. That's probably more likely. But join the mailing list, and if you can buy a painting, that's a great way to support me, because really, this is what I love to do. This is all I really want to do is paint. Yeah. Now I should mention some mailing list. That's Landscape Painter Cohen Zed. Probably going to be up in the little corner here or something. So, not to mention the little pop-up scroll thing I've been doing, which sorry to annoy you, but hey. It's a commercial world, man. Anyway, getting ready to draw. One thing I want to say before, there's going to be some little mountain hills in the back here. They're actually going to be a color that didn't really get mixed here. But that's okay, because I knew it's a very small spot and that I would probably just add some white or gray to one of these other tones. Being a little bit, what's the word? Well... There's a lot of nice words I don't want to use on YouTube for that, but I like things clean and neat. Anyway, this is about a good consistency for doing some drawing, and we are going to start drawing. So actually, first let me take a picture. So sorry, this is me, my Galaxy Note 3, still a good phone. Not a problem. That'll be for Instagram. I like Instagram. I'm pretty new on it. I'm digging it. So, trees. Going to be a tree here. It's all very intuitive with me. Where do I start? Where do you start? It doesn't matter where you start. Start someplace. Now I know that I'm going to have this like a meadow here. Now, sometimes you'll see on some of my videos I slap down one of these get a nice straight line. Don't think it's necessary here. Actually, I had to buy that, interestingly. I had to buy that ruler, or T-square, last time I was in the United States. They don't sell them out here in New Zealand. Don't know why. It's going to be that little bit of hose there. And I'm going to take some of the excess paint, because that's not going to be dark at all. So we're basically just kind of drawing that. Got a little bit of trees here. A little trunk. And we're off to the races. One thing I learned a long time ago is your trees need trunks. If you do trees without trunks, they look like balls, I mean, when we're looking at them in real life, we know they're trees, and so we accept that. But in your painting, you get a little more medium here. This is our main trunk. Your painting, you never want to have anything that people are saying, what's that? Why is that like that? You got stuff like that in your painting, you've already failed, really. It's a bit thick. I want to put too much paint, that's okay. Like I said, everything we're doing here is going to get covered up. So this also has this like path I mentioned. And actually, interestingly, the path goes up there. But we're not going to bother with that. We're going to just simplify. And that gets into a whole nother lesson. I might share the reference image. I might just pop it up. It's off the screen right now. We'll see how I feel about that. That's one thing I don't tend to like sharing my reference image, because I really don't need people's ideas about it, To me, it's just a part of the process. People are very into it, though. They really want to know, but sorry. It's kind of proprietary, I guess. I don't know. I will say, you definitely want to be careful what reference you use. Definitely want to pick good things to paint. Definitely want to make sure they stand up. Now, there's going to be some branches and things here. This is all going to be pretty dark down here. And I like to do that. I like to stop the eye. It's also very dark. Very dark. Got shadows here. Shadows here. Sort of a light source over here. Recently I've been fixing up a bunch of old paintings, I could say. One of the main things I'm fixing is making sure it's got a discernible light source. Sometimes, like this reference I'm working on now, it could have been taken on an overcast day. It might have been not extremely clear. The other thing I want to say, you know, photos, I'm working here in the studio. That's how I like it. I could be working plein air. One of the reasons I got into doing these little studies like this was just sort of as a way to do like a almost plein air approach before I got in and started working on the larger painting. There's not much room for detail at this size. Now, the other thing I want to say is I like to make things, I've got like this little tree here. I'm not going to get too into it. It's just like this little, but compositionally it's going to be, I think, pretty important to have something here. I'm not going to get too into it because it's going to have to be painted over everything around it, but I like to indicate things. Also, if I'm going to err on the side of more or less dark, I like to have more dark because I like to paint my lighter colors over the darker. At some point I do go in and sometimes do dark bits as well. This is our path going off here. We're almost done, believe it or not. Now, this particular painting's got quite a bit of dark, shadowy stuff behind the trees here. I might just indicate that. As you can see, I'm just kind of brushing on lightly. Sometimes, too, I can leave the black in the brush, grab some more oil, and that will give me kind of a thinner, sort of medium color, right? I'll do some of that. I don't always feel like I need to draw in the sky, because the sky tells what's the story in the sky. Pretty total color. Pretty total color. I don't like too much glops of talking with the brush in my mouth. I don't like too many glops of paint. You know, this is going to be faded out back here, which is another thing that I'm getting better at these days, fading out those distant objects. Now, in my reference is like two trunks next to each other here. I'm going to simplify that. 90% of what you will always want to simplify your reference. I mean, as you get better as a painter, this is the main thing you're going to learn. You know, start leaving things out. In the States, we call these Q-tips. They don't call them Q-tips out here in New Zealand. They call them, I don't know, what do they call them? Heck if I know. Jeez. They call them, I gotta go digging. I see a pack. I see a pack here. I don't know if it's got a name on it. I don't know, they call them nothing. They call it baby, money baby. So, cotton swabs, how about that? Pretty nice tool. The thing is with these, you only got so many useful areas where you can do things. I don't need to do much. Now in my reference, this is all just tree here. I might bring a branch out. We'll see. Also, we got this area where the tree is kind of coming into the path. How I'm going to resolve that, I'm not sure. Maybe just a little grass over the top. I don't know. Sometimes we tell the story with the color better. Okay, so I think I'm pretty much done with my drawing phase. A little bit. Like I say, I want to have a bit more dark than I need. Take things off the corners. Got this path. Little tree here. Huh, I think we're good. This branch maybe. I don't know about that. I think I'm going to eliminate that. Yeah, there's a million decisions that go into a painting, you know. Millions, not a million, thousands, but a big painting may be real involved. A lot of stages might be millions, I don't know. Anyway, that's it for now, and I'm going to go have some lunch. It's about 11 here, and I'll be back. I got to actually get some videos and things prepared, so I usually do that at lunchtime, but I'll be back in the afternoon, and we are going to jump in with the color, and it's going to be totally awesome. So we'll see you then. Hello. Welcome to Toneless Painting with M. Francis McCarthy. I should say toneless landscape painting, because that's what we're painting, is a landscape. Now I've had my lunch, I did all my various social media duties, put a nice video up on YouTube and Instagram and all those other good guys, and now we're ready to get some color in. So see, and the great news is it's been maybe a couple hours. Paint's still sticking. That's one thing about oil paint, it's sticky. You know, it sticks to stuff. Just a quick recap for you. Let's see, white combo, titanium white, lead white. Doesn't really matter who's lead white. Hansa yellow medium, yellow ochre, transparent earth yellow, raw umber. We call that Mike's green. If you caught the first chunk, you saw me mix up some of that. Permanent orange. This is called Perline red from Gamlin. Most of these are from Gamlin. The lists are earth colors, like this one, the black, and the... Oh, that might be it. Yeah, actually. Oh, and the yellow ochre, right. This is transparent earth red from Gamlin. It's also the same as burnt sienna from Winsor Newton. Alizarin crimson, permanent green light from Gamlin. That's the only permanent green light that works out, by the way. All the rest are very wimpy, at least in my experience. Maybe you know something better. Cobalt blue, all Gamlin. Phthalo blue, also from Gamlin. Dioxine purple, I think is what it's called. Let's have a look. Yep. Dioxine. Good purple. Got a big tube of that. Lasts me quite a while. Mostly use the purple in the skies, but it's handy to have because I can't mix that color, you know. Anyway, ivory black. This is the fast matte from Gamlin. Dries quicker. And this is Mike's gray, just maybe a 50-60% gray. It's a mix of ivory black and white. Just titanium white, not the lead. Anyway, it seems to dry fine. It usually goes into the mix. Anyway, we're ready to jump in. So, again, first thing I like to do is get a little oil on that thing. I'm probably going to need a little more oil. I've learned the hard way just before. Now I'm talking with a brush in my mouth. Learn the hard way just pour it a little bit in. You don't need a lot. You know, we don't use a lot of oil. But I always start the painting with some oil, and I generally kind of put the excess on my palette. And we're ready to jump in. So this color I mixed. And I adjust these colors all the time. I just kind of start with them. I want more red. And here we go. Now, this color in my reference is actually a bit darker. Now, see, when you get these piles of paint there like that could be a real pain in the butt. Oh, shoot. Working vertically. What a change. What a change. All for you, my dear YouTube subscriber. Now, we're going to see how popular this is, because it's not as easy for me, but you know, what the heck. I realize that I've had a lot of requests for this kind of thing, and just my way of looking after my subscribers. But I have to say, I'll have to see how popular this video is, but you know, it might be a case of this sort of thing goes to people on the mailing list, so that's why you ought to join that mailing list, because I videotape almost everything I do. I'm kind of wipe off that excess, right? Kind of obsessive about that sort of thing. Now, a lot of times, see, I've got some more here, so I don't use it all, but that's going to be a bit of a color shift. Let's throw a little orange in there. Bit of a color shift. Bit of a little color shift. Not enough, though. Not enough. You want to make sure your colors are separate. You don't want You don't want your colors too close together. I don't like that. I feel like I want more, almost, yeah, more of like a coral type of color. That color we have is quite orange, which is nice. I tend to like try things out. I mix them up, try them out on the painting. I think most painters probably do that. I also like to use the side of a brush a lot. I like to move my brush around. That's all just really intuitive. Try not to, well, I think what I think is awesome about painting is, this is a place too where I would have, what was awesome about painting is, it's a great mix of conscious and unconscious processes, right? I mean, a lot of what you do is consciously directed, but not all of it. God knows. Alright, again, I want some more red. Now, I wouldn't probably use this red too much up in the sky. Oh, let's grab some of that too. I mean, I wouldn't use this in the earth. In the sky, it's great. It's great, because you can, you know, the earth, may use some more earthy burnt sienna usually, unless I really feel the need to push something. Okay, over here, I feel like, oh man, that black, that's very sticky, man. It's very stiff. It's the stiffest paint on my palette. I always have to struggle a bit. But now, when I was coming up, you know, black was a big fat no-no. And, you know, probably for that reason, because I got my training from a lot of guys out of books and DVDs and just, you know, people like Bob Rome. I like him. I don't know if you heard of him. He's good, kind of an impressionist style. But anyway, back into black. I like black, and black was the big no-no color. The big you're the student, you can't have black, you know. But and I went on like that for quite a while. Grab a lot of purple. Went on like that for a long time. But you know, eventually it dawned on me that all my heroes, people like Ines and Murphy and Charles Warren Eaton, they were using plenty of black. People like Sargent, said he couldn't paint without black when he visited Monet in his studio. And Monet said, "Hey, you want to paint?" He's like, "Yeah." And then he sees his Monet set up, and he goes, "Hey, where's the black?" Monet says, "Hey, I don't use black, man." Which is like the Impressionist credo. I don't use black, man. Well, I use black. I love it. So, every now and again, I stop. I kind of reappraise my palette. This isn't scraping off so great, but then I keep a little off to the side. Let's try this other knife. Maybe this will be better. That's slightly better. Slightly better. This is all new to me, folks. Painting, mixing my colors vertically like this. So, you can see I kind of progress from dark out into the lighter. I want more of this black. Now, and I was just talking earlier about how you don't want your cloth to be too dark. You don't. You don't. But sometimes, I don't know, I go with my intuition, you know? Things usually work out right. Painting is more a process of intuition and experience, those two combined, than it is linear conscious thought. Okay, so I've done all that with my first little blob of paint. This one is actually pretty close to what I have in mind. But like I say, those are kind of my little placeholders. I like that. It's a little bit more the lavender tone. Now, I don't get too persnickety about filling up every little spot. You guys help me remember to take a picture of this when it's just the sky. Now here, I want to go more orange. I want to go more orange. I want to go more orange and rusty. So you can see that's that permanent orange there. See more orange down below. Thinking more lavender above, more orange down below. That feels good. And a little bit of this. I want to really get into the rust over here. And I want to. It's just not going as dark as I'd like. I want that a little darker. Now, the thing about black, the reason they don't give black to the young painting students or the old painting students is because black is a color killer, you know? In fact, when I first started using black, it was primarily as just that, a color killer. Color's too bright, too saturated. Break out that black, kill some color. That's what I do. Alright, back into this. And then again, I think I want it more orange. Let's go have one if I put some of that. Woohoo! That's cool. More. So a lot of times I just go with my intuition and experience, you know, both working together. Okay, so at this point sometimes I might do a little defining, I guess would be the word. Danny, shut up. That's my dog chewing on himself. Chewing on a flea. No, he doesn't have any fleas, but he doesn't know that. He likes to have a chew anyway. I guess it's something to do. I can use this up. Grab some white. See what happens when I bring it into that. And a little more yellow. I want this to pop. I like my skies to pop. Yeah, so we're getting into some brighter, more payoff-y tones. Gotta have that sky pop. Gotta have a payoff sky. That's what I tell all my students. Which is you guys today. You guys are getting the full... Well, actually, if you come out here to Fongaray, I'll give you a painting lesson. 35 bucks an hour. That's so cheap, I know. But here at the Quarry Art Center, they have a lot of courses, and that's what they pay the instructors, 35 bucks an hour. And I figure I'm coming out way ahead because I like to just work with people one-on-one. I don't like to get a whole class doing the same thing. Although, if you guys are following along, you're welcome to do so. Totally welcome to do so. In fact, you're welcome to follow along anytime. Oh, they just walked by. They couldn't see me in here. Maybe that's what's going on. I did kind of close the door today. Because, oh, this is the thing you maybe noticed this morning. I'm in a t-shirt, and now I'm in a sweat jacket. So, why is that? Well, that is because the weather here in lovely New Zealand is very changeable. Okay, so ready for another, I don't know if I'm going to use that. I'm going to get rid of it. I keep those little piles on the side. Sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't. Again, that's kind of an intuitive process. Now we're going to find out how stable my little structure is here. It's basically a piece of glass with a piece of mat board underneath. See, aren't you glad? You guys usually miss all this stuff. You don't see all the palette action. You just see the brush action. And the brush action, let's face it, that's where it's at. Now, a lot of times too, I'll wipe my brush off. Yeah, there's some paint in there. I could do a whole painting sometimes with one brush. Now, here's the thing. I've got this here, and I've already kind of hit a lot of these tones there. What I really want to do is go into a lavender with this purple lighter. Like that. Maybe even more purple. You can't mix this purple, folks. Try it. Try it, you'll see. You can mix most of the purples you can mix with at least the palette I use, which is a landscape palette, let's face it. Ooh, yeah, I like that. Yeah, I don't mind little bits. That's one of the reasons you're getting some of that orange from the down below. It's fine. Looks good. Looks great. I want that a little darker. There's a place here where I might grab some of that gray. It's so handy. I figure that's one of my big innovations. It's that gray. I originally got into that because Gamblin gives away every year they give a color away called Torrid Gray. I'm going to bring that cloud back up. Bring it back up. And Torrid Gray is from our filters at the factory. It's a combination of all the different colors they made that year. And it's pretty neat because, let's bring some red, a little red. Don't want this to go too dark. Of course, every color you add is going to go a little darker. And then sometimes you'll see if I want to lighten some of my, then white, the other color killer, eh? White is the other color killer. It's a black color killer. White. Killer. Killing the color. That's my neighbor. Phil, he's a good guy. I like Phil. Good neighbor, nice and quiet. I like it quiet. I like it quiet here. The Quarry Art Centre in Whangarei, New Zealand. Yeah, probably a lot of you have never heard of Whangarei. Yeah, population in town. Yeah, I don't know what to do. So why would I go yellow ochre? I just feel like it. I want to change up. A little change. Painting is so fun, isn't it? Too much like what I've got before. So hopefully you're getting kind of the idea of, I mix these colors, I modify them a lot. I usually don't ever really use them straight up. And the same thing goes for the reference, which you can't really see, but I might take a shot of it for you. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see how you guys make me feel. Because maybe you show me some love on that mailing list, and I'll start showing you my reference. Yeah. How about that? That's a fair trade. Show Mike the love on the list. And you will probably maybe get to see his reference image. Otherwise, you can just guess. You can just guess. Like you've been guessing for the last 2 years. Let's kill it. What am I even doing here? Sometimes I start mixing a color and I don't even know what for. But, heck, I've mixed it. May as well use it. Just like this because it's kind of spreading things out and changing things up. That's a little too dark there, I think. So you'll see I do that quite a lot. A lot of my clouds a bit dark, and then gradually go in and now purple and yellow. That's complementary. That's making a weird color, isn't it? Weird color. It's okay. Nature's full of weird colors. Okay, so just kind of breaking up that big shape. You want big shapes, but you don't want them taking over. I'm going to start breaking up that tree edge a little there too. Man, tree edges, we'll be talking about that in a minute. So, the sky's looking pretty good. I think I'm going to kind of been futzing with that cloud. Some of this crimson. So when I use black, I usually mix it with something else, but I'm futzing with this cloud. I want to kind of see, it's pretty hard. That's one reason, a good argument for getting your darks underneath. Quite hard to get a dark over a bunch of paint. It's an interesting effect when you do, but you can see that's nowhere near black now, which is okay. I just kind of want to tie this together, unified a little. There's a place too where the texture can help. Okay. So, yeah, I'm liking that. I'm liking that. Let's go. Red, pink, a little white. I don't like dark shapes going into my trees. It just kind of creates like this sort of armature effect, like when you make clay stuff and you've got these little things coming out that are holding the clay together. Alright, let's move this chair forward. So, you guys will be glad to know I'm sitting in my guest chair today because it doesn't creak horribly like my old office chair I've had here for the whole 7 times I've been here. And most of the chairs it seems you buy these days, they seem to break. They seem to break pretty quickly, but I'm kind of a big guy, so you know that could be the reason. Could be. I don't need this that clean because I'm gonna get in some of this. Oh goodness. Oh, that. Now, so many times I bring in the permanent orange to counteract the effects of yellow, because especially in the sky, you don't want your greens, unless that's what you're going after. You don't want your greens. You don't want the sky to be real green. You don't want greens in there. You want reds. Okay, that's looking cool. See, you can see this brush is really too big for the job, eh? But it's okay. That's good. And it looks like a painting then, instead of this polished little photo. We don't want that. There's enough photos in the world. There's some awesome photography being done these days. But still, it's photography. It's not painting. Yeah, I'm going to push that a little bit. See, little bits goes a long way. See, I like to gradate things. Oh, we got this little hills in the back. I like to gradate things. I like them. I like movement in my color. You know what this reminds me too? Up here, I need something. Oh, a little snizzle in the hizzle. A little snizzle in the hizzle. Okay. So the dialogue you guys are getting is not much different from the dialogue that's usually in my head. Now, keep in mind, too, we're going to be doing a second color pass on this, which usually doesn't take as long, especially on these little ones. Second, third color passes can take a long time on the bigger stuff, but these little studies, not so long. But, like, one of the things I really want to do is maybe push that into some more ready whatevers, but I've learned a long time ago not to try and do everything all at once. Okay, maybe a little yellow. Let's get this in a little yellow and white and yellow and orange. Da-dum, da-dum. Okay. I like that. Maybe it's, see, this is the thing, you'll see me futz with my, that's why I don't show you guys my palette usually. You see her futz with these whites quite a lot sometimes before I actually am done. I'm going to have a little tree here, so I don't want to go over it too much. That on the bottom, push that even more white. Now, when you want things to be more white, come in off the side, right? Because if you plop that white in the middle, you'll never get it where you want it. And that's still not where I want it. What I want is, see, just another layer of lightness, brightness. Excitement, pop. I want some pop. Okay, then a lot of times I'm looking at things, I'm reappraising because now I've got pretty much the whole sky locked in. It's got brilliant red, what a pretty color, eh? And I said I was going to do some of this when I was on the second pass, but I don't know. getting kind of a mess there. I don't know. I feel like doing it now. Let's really pop something. Oh, pardon my French. My goodness, I'm sorry. Please take the children out of the room. Just foul-mouthed artist. So I do apologize for that. And it pops some nice red in there. Some color. You see how the red, orange, yellow, get some synchronicity going. And I don't think these things over. I don't think I mean, I plan, but I don't over plan. There's no point in it. For me. You as an artist, you may be different. I used to do a lot more planning when I was an illustrator, I'll tell you that. I kind of have to. I'm just using a bit of my brush there. Okay, so I don't want to overwork things. I do have a few places that need to be plugged up. Here. Here. That's going to be a tree. I don't mind some little bits of this dark underboard coming through. In fact, half the time I don't really even notice it until I'm looking at my photography. Where you've seen some of those zoom-ins on my my blog, and you can see, you know, a little painting like this. It's really pretty interesting when you zoom in. Okay, and I don't want this big. It's what I want and what I don't want, and I don't want a big shape running into my trees. You can see I've used all these colors now. It took me a little while. If you're familiar with Bob Ross, it is a happy sky. It's a happy sky. Pretty dramatic, but happy, hey? It's dramatic and happy. You could be dramatic and happy. Okay. So, time to stop and take a picture. So, I'm going to pause this. Okay, we're back. And I think I'm going to need a lot. I think I'm going to need more orange. We already freshened up our orange one time. Actually, I did a little work. I did a little cleanup while you guys were, you know, off camera. Didn't see any reason for you to have to sit here and endure every single thing, but I do keep my palette clean. Some artists don't. Some artists just keep piling things on things. I don't know. I work with a fairly small palette, so it just pays to keep it clean. I just like to keep all this clean and maintained as well. I think that's what they call, I don't know. Some of my partners have had names for me, but you can call me Mike. Yeah, Mike is my name. I go by M. Francis though, because like I say, Mike McCarthy. Oh, where I come from in the U.S., yeah, that name is like John Smith. It's very popular. A lot of Mike McCarthys out there. Even more than one Michael Francis McCarthy, to be honest. All right, so I'm looking. This is looking nice. I'm happy with this. Look, it's pretty. And now sometimes you see me do this very briefly. This videos are sped up. This is going to be real time, so this is going to be a pretty long video. And we'll see how far you guys get with it. I do a little bit of picking. I don't get carried away. Sometimes things catch the light. I take care of those. That's a very intuitive process as well. I've learned to leave things alone. You want to leave things alone. Don't overwork your stuff. Don't harry your painting, you know. Not hairy as in lots of hair. Hairy as in worry it, you know. You don't need that. So, now I've got a lot of black in here. Hey. It's me neighbor.
Yeah.
It's one of my neighbors. That's Leanne. She's been here as long as me. Let's get some more black in there. Why not? I can just grab it from up here too, but let's sometimes at this point I'm probably going to work in some medium. So we're back into this brush. So I did all of that sky with a one brush. And I'll be doing most of the ground. Oh, there is one thing before I get into the black. The trail itself is very reminiscent of the colors in the sky. It's not going to be as vivid. This is my color killer for warms. My color killer for warm colors. Bring in some of that sky color there too. And you don't want your paint too thin, by the way. By the by. Let's see. The black is like the cool color killer, and the raw umber is like the. Oh, that's nice. Very close to the color of the board. That's nice. I don't want that too vivid. I want that. It's ground. It's dirt. Now my reference image is looking very vivid, and I don't really want that. So this is the thing. You don't want to be a slave to the. To the reference. The reference is just that, something you refer to while you're creating, because you're a creator. You create things. Let's get some of this here, some of that. You create things. You're a human being. Human beings are creative. Okay, so you don't want to be aping a machine, and that's what cameras are. They're machines. You can manipulate things pretty frickin' extensively. Notice I said fricking instead of that bad word I said earlier. Very sorry about that. I have to figure out where I said that and edit it, because I never swear on any of my stuff. I do tend to swear though. I like to swear, but it's a naughty habit. It's a bad habit. Don't really. Some people don't like it at all. I worked with a lady at one job. Oh, she would, no matter what it was we were arguing about, the argument would always end up being about me swearing at some point. Okay. So, one of the keys to the medium is to get the paint, wet enough to fill into the texture. You don't want that. Although I don't use a lot. I don't use a lot of medium. Don't recommend it. Okay. That's a little flat, a little dead. I don't want this too bright, but I don't want it too dead. Not too bright, not too dead. And as it recedes, this is about as light as I want it to be, so as it recedes, I'm going to add in more of this. Because you want to have your colors gradiate. You want to have them move, gradiate. That's almost now. See, I went and I made that too flat, too light. Let's experiment. Okay. Off to the side, if you plop that dark in the middle, it's not going to have much of a change. Also, sometimes there's all this stuff in my brush that's working against me as well. I haven't used any of you today. Let's grab some of you. Oh, that's nice. Let's see, we got this path. And what's going on back here? It's kind of vague. That's another thing. More and more I'm learning if something's vague, just leave it vague. We don't need to. People will fill in the details with their imaginations. That's far more pleasurable than you delineating every little aspect of the scene. That's not what people want to look at. It's vague in the reference. Just keep it vague. You don't have to sit there. I used to do that in the old days. That's my personality type. I'd sit there and work out the texture a little bit. Just add some interest to this path. So you can see the path sky related. If it was water, it'd be the same. So, okay, let's pause that for a minute. Alright, I paused it for a minute. Take another photo. Why? It just seemed right. Seemed like the right thing to do. Yeah, just looking at my YouTube channel, there's somebody, I ended up putting a few, like my 1 minute videos from Instagram up. on YouTube, and I didn't think it was very good. 1 minute, 1 minute's actually on Instagram it works fine, but it seems just kind of severe for YouTube. Also, I've had some inputs. Maybe I shouldn't talk because I have a big mouth and say things might offend people, but honestly, I never mean to offend anybody. I'm a live and let live kind of guy. However you want to roll is fine with me. Cleaning up. A little bit of cleaning up. We don't need that hair. So I clean as I go. That's a good policy. That's what chefs do, right? That's what they teach you to do on old Master Chef. Clean as you go. Also, if I have a puddle of whatever, this is some kind of gray, that might come in handy. It might not. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so we're getting ready to go into trees. Now, one thing I like to do before I get too carried away is just to restate the darks, because sometimes in that first dark pass, I'm drawing, so I may not have enough of the goodness of the darkness. Oh, what a pretty color black is, really. What a pretty color. Okay. And it might look like in a lot of my videos I'm doing nothing, doing nothing. But I'm doing something. Let's get some of that off the edge there. Basically just kind of socking in a little more paint there. This is because that first pass, I'm thinking like a drawer, I'm thinking like an artist. Well, I'm thinking like an artist now too, I hope. But okay, yeah, I like that. So anyway, I was talking about vagueness, right? Vagueness. It depends on your personality type. Some people love to do paintings that are real vague. My personality, I started out, my favorite artists when I was younger were so detailed. I always loved that stuff. It took me years to develop an appreciation for, just color and form, as opposed to, this is kind of creating a little distraction to me. I like it there, but I'm always looking for straight lines, odd parallels, things like that. I keep looking down for my palette and it's not there. There's a new brush. Not a new brush, it's clean. It's a clean brush. I don't know, lots of times I go into that dark. If I had some black there, why not? Because this is, you can see, it's not going to look that dark. It seems kind of dark on the glass. But now, you don't want things too thin. Not too thin, not too thick. Actually, if you're going to make an error, sometimes I have to scrape the paint off the brush. If you're going to make an error on the side of too thick, I'd say. And this is looking somewhat like my reference, but it's actually diverging quite a lot too. And I think that's exciting. That's one of the reasons I paint the same scenes all the time. I'll paint a scene repeatedly because it diverges. It's really about, I'm diverging, I'm not the same person I was yesterday. Nobody is. I'm different. Try and keep that black. Don't want to cover it all up. Try to integrate it. I'm going to work with it. It's wet too, so this helps coming in with some of this green. And one of the things I love to do is bring the value of the trees close to the value of the sky. That's a big Francis Murphy trick. And that's to a lesser degree. Murphy did that a lot. That's a real hallmark. See, I got a little clump of some kind of dry bit of paint there. Probably from the first chunk of that green. It gets dry. Sometimes it gets dry. I store my painting, my paint palette in the fridge here. I have a little mini fridge here at work. Yeah. We want our trees to pop too, but this is your pop. That's your pop. Little pop. Big pops and little pops. So the other thing I'm thinking, just go with my intuition, right? And maybe I found a use for this because I have these like some green. Now this is a place where I didn't put any phthalo on my palette today. I'm gonna fake it. I'm gonna use some phthalo blue. I didn't put phthalo on because I didn't think I'd be using a lot of it in this painting. I might regret that. I actually full out removed it from my palette for quite a while. But I had that. You'll be seeing it coming up. You might even see it before you see this. I don't know when I'm putting this up. So your hills in the back, like in the reference, sometimes they might be as dark as a tree. Don't do that. It needs to be lighter. It needs to be lighter. It needs to be... You've got this atmospheric haze thing going on, man. You gotta... Now, don't get too carried away with the atmospheric haze. Some people, it just becomes a giant cliche. Like so many things. For a long time, I wouldn't even paint sunsets, as I thought they were such a giant cliche. Now, it's usually most of what I do is twilight or... I don't know what color in there. I don't necessarily want... that's almost the same value as that orange. That's nice. Also, I don't like smearing my colors. I like to pull them together with strokes that are discernible. That's a real hallmark of the amateurs, the smearing together of color. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Paint the color in between. That's what you want to do. That's probably too much. That's okay. There we go. Some of that. Some of that. Some of that. Some white. These are little details. Sometimes I get nutty with little details that don't matter, but whatever. We all do what we're doing, what we can, best we can. Hey, I'm usually talking to myself, but now you're here, so I don't seem even remotely crazy, because, you're watching me, right? So, right? Okay, now I'm going to have some smoky greens back there. We're going to get into it. We won't leave this black back there black either. We're going to soften that. We don't want anything really dark back there. I don't so much mind with this tree, but anyway. So we did find a use for this guy. We used most of it up. Right on. Now I'm not going to worry about cleaning this up too much right now. I'm in green mode. Green mode. Okay, this is, well, I have this area down here. I didn't actually address that. And, whoa. Yeah, sometimes what happens is colors end up getting, I should have done that back there with my sky brush, but I got into the green brush. So one of the reasons, one of my solutions for that is wipe it off, because there's a bunch of green in that brush. Get some medium. I'm using medium as thinner, basically. It's really good. But then I'll go into this little pile of black, kind of sort of reset the brush. Also, this color's gotten kind of dull. I want some... I'm sort of regretting not having the phthalo green. It'll be okay, though. Because it will. Because I don't want to get the tube out. Oh, you know what? Actually, I have some right here behind me. I just remembered. There's a little phthalo. Phthalo is what's needed. And I know I'm going to want some down in that tree there. Oh, the phthalo's nice. That's perfect. I saw a little advertisement from Gamblin because, we're Facebook friends now, don't you know? And, oh, that's nice. That's nice. Work off of that black in there. I want that dark, but I want something going on. I just want things flat. Gamlin's got a new phthalo, a warm phthalo, and they says, now finally you can use phthalo in your painting. All right, Gamblin, good job. Phthalo is not a color you would ever use straight up in a painting, unless the whole point of the painting was to be keyed off of back into my earth green. That green is, you know, I give you guys so much good information, but a lot of this information was on my blog, and I know some of you just don't have time to read. You know, this modern world's pulling at us every which way, which is a great argument for buying a painting, because you know what? You'll come home, stressful day at work, the boss, he had nothing but problems with everything you did that day. We wasn't shy about telling you either. You're stressed out. You don't know. You know how you're going to keep going on. But come home, sit down in your favorite chair, maybe have a glass of wine, and look at your M. Francis McCarthy painting. Oh my God. That is heaven. That is heaven. If you could define heaven, I think that would be one way, because you know what? You're going to go into this soothing yet dynamic painting, and you're going to just get kind of lost. Kind of lost in a good way, though. Not lost like they're calling the police because they don't know where you live. You don't want that kind of lost. You want to get positively lost. Let's bring in some more of that phthalo. See, it's nice. You know, a lot of good trick, you know, is like you got this earthy green and you bring in a little bit of that phthalo and it just pushes things into cool areas. And you know, humans, man, we can detect so many different greens. So many different greens. Very sensitive to green. And there are millions of greens, and it's a green planet, really. That's looking nice. Now, I like to have lighter bits out towards the sky on my trees. You probably noticed that. Maybe you didn't. Let's grab some of that. This is a lot flatter, but I think I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with it. And we're going to see, is it even green anymore? Oh my God. This green? Yeah, it's going to be perceived as green. This is another powerful tip. You want to throw a lot of reds into your greens, man. You can't even really throw too much sometimes. Because you see, when I put this in here, you don't say, oh my God, why do you put that red in there? You're just going, oh, that looks nice. You know, it looks good. I'm going to leave that little bit of dark there. I like that. Alright, anyway, getting futzy. Back into these sort of cooler greens. I think another way I can cool things down is by using the gray. This gray is automatically cool. And a little more of that phthalo. Uh-oh, phone's ringing. We'll put you on pause here. That was the wife. God bless her. You know what? You really should be thanking her for this, because if it wasn't her, if it wasn't for her, you know, most of my paintings wouldn't be here. I'm really gonna say it. Now, this is talking about the smoky greens. We're kind of getting smoky now, so maybe it's a time to we can save some, and I'm so glad I did, because green. You know what? These are going to be in the back here. Now I've learned, another lesson I've learned is the little trees in the background. Like there might be trees speckled all over these hills. You don't want to paint every little tree. You don't want to do that. You just want to give people sort of the idea of what's happening. Yeah. Just give them the idea. Not too dark. Not too dark. It might be quite dark in your reference, but you don't want to paint it dark. You don't want to do it, because if you do it, the painting's not going to have air in it. It's not going to have depth and life. This is another thing I love this color for. In the back, so it's an option to the black, right? It's an option to the black. It's dark, but it's not black. So differentiates. Man, if you could look at some of my older stuff, I mean, even not that long ago, you'd see, oh, this is a lesson I should have learned a long time ago. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Pretty happy with that. I could even bring in a little bit of this, see if I can even get there. This other, wow, it's a pretty subtle color. A little rosy color there. Now, this is a great argument too, by the way. You want to work with, start with a minimal palette. You don't need all these colors, You need the yellow. I recommend yellow ochre if you're a landscape painter. Orange is optional. You can make orange out of red. You don't need that red. You need burnt sienna. Gotta have it. You gotta have a blue. Do you need two blues? Maybe. Black. Black is really a blue, if you think about it. Black is blue. Yeah. White. You gotta have white. And if you're trying to paint the way I paint, you're gonna need some black. There's no question about it. So you could skip the phthalo, you could skip the purple, you could skip the permanent green, you could skip this transparent earth yellow. You can't skip the raw umber. That's actually a pretty recent addition to my palette, but you can't skip it. My palette's getting too crazy now. When things get too crazy, I start getting distracted. It's time. Oh yeah, these are my mixed colors, aren't they? Oh, we move those. We're getting close, folks. Getting close. Getting close. Yep, that's feeling good. I don't really exactly know what I'm going to do with this tree here. It might be one of the last things I do. I go through a lot of paper towels, by the way. Sometimes I wonder, it was the end of the world. What do I do without paper towels? I need something. This doesn't have to be pristine, this glass here, but when I start getting lost, I start getting confused, it's time to impose some order in the situation. And that's what we've done. We've imposed order. Also, this is called good palette habits. Clean your palette. Keep it nice. You don't have to though. You might be a different kind of person than I am. That's all right. We're all different. You gotta embrace the differences. Yeah. I don't want that. I'm gonna leave that phthalo there because I think I still need it. So now it gets looking kind of gummy in here, but does it really matter? I don't know. This milky color that is on my brush, that's from painting again in the back. Maybe I should have done that with the sky brush again. Duh. Okay. Anyway, that's why I'll turn it here, and I get some cleaner medium. It doesn't need to be all that clean because. That's another green. I think I was sort of thinking this is one place. I'll take this kind of green. I'll never use it straight up, but that's pretty interesting, isn't it? We'll pop some real green in here. You don't need to paint the whole frickin' thing green. Notice I said fricking. I didn't swear. So I'm doing really good because I want kids to watch this. You kids, you could do this too. Everybody can do this. Everybody can paint. Painting is fun. Painting is not as hard as you think. I mean, it's not easy to get that good. It's not easy either, but you know what it is? It's a fun challenge to master. Okay, so why did I do this? Well, I'm thinking down here. I want these trees to kind of be pushed in a little different territory. Okay. A little different spread. Yeah, kind of a cooler, darker. Now you can see I got probably tons of this little. Oh, by the way, the ground color I'm painting on top of is burnt umber, and you'll notice no burnt umber on the palette. What do I need burnt umber for? Because I can make burnt umber by mixing this and this in 2 seconds flat. And not to mention it's everywhere. It's everywhere already. So if I go with this, I'm going to get things too bright. This gives me some of that lightning action, but without the brightness. I don't really want the brightness right now. I don't want my... You don't want screaming electric green trees. Trees, you want to mute it. That's cool, actually. I like that because it's cool. This is warm. This is cool. Put a little bit back here. I build my trees up little by little. I've been on Instagram for a month or so now, just seeing all the awesome painters out there. There's some awesome tree painters out there. I wish I could remember some of the names off the top of my head, but okay, this is now, well, we talked about this earlier. What am I going to do here? Well, it's green. It's going to be some green grass. Green grass. And down here, that's actually probably a good spot to get into this again. Now that's going kind of ucky, but we put in some phthalo, and that's going to look nice. Phthalo and yellow ochre are a good combination, because phthalo is so intense and yellow ochre is so dull. They work out. It works out. I wouldn't say I do it all the time. I like to do it in auxiliary areas, like down here in this little bit of grass. Up here I'm using my warm greens. Now, I don't know how much more I'll be doing up in the tree area today. That might be a good spot for the second pass. By the way, I'm going to pause you. Okay, we're back. Well, that was a great way to be interrupted, because a nice older lady came in and just bought a painting, which is what we want. That's what we like. We like to sell the paintings. And this was a beautiful painting too, if I don't say so myself. 16 by 20. It was kind of in blue tones. Really nice painting, and I'm so glad. I really love it when my work finds a good home. Anyway, getting back into this, we're getting close to done. Now, I feel like back here, I want to pop in some more of this, I don't know, reddy tone. Got some trees here. Kind of connect with that. I'm not going to get too crazy with detail back there. It's, like I said before, it's a little bit vague. It's a little bit vague. Might be time to get into these tree trunks too. I don't know what color that is. Some kind of green. That's a good color for tree trunks. Gray, brown. And now tree trunks, usually you don't want too much paint on your brush because it's going to get all floppy. So a little medium. And let's pop that in. You don't want them too light. This might be a little on the light side, but that's okay. You don't want to overwork them. You don't want to overthink them. Actually, you don't want to overwork or overthink anything in your landscape painting. You're better off just doing a bunch of landscape paintings so that some of this stuff just becomes automatic. Now, I'm not a finger painter, but you will see me get in there and modify things with my finger. I will do that. I will do it. And now this area here, it's kind of vague. What am I thinking? I don't want it to be like its own special color or anything. I'll grab some of that. I do want it to be filled in. A little bit of blue, green, cool, kind of tying into this stuff here. You know, I work to try and keep some of my blacks and darks, and then you've got to break them up. You don't want holes. You don't want holes there. Now this is a color I'd mixed that was sitting there. It was sort of designed to be not exactly a highlight, but maybe a tree highlight, yeah. By the way, that sound you hear, the knock, 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 is it's a wind chime made from a coconut and some bamboo. And there used to be a building here at the quarry, and would be off to my my right. And this is all dried up. I'm gonna have to put a little more. I always clean this out. It's getting muddy. Look at that. That's not good. Oh, look at that on my finger too. By the way, I don't wear a smock. You know, I don't wear a smock. I just try not to get dirty. Try not to get dirty. Try not to get the paint on myself. Okay, a little bit. We don't need a lot of that. And now, if I don't get it too muddy, I can. Again, so intuition. You know, intuition says, "Hey, maybe you've closed off so much of the black and stuff. Maybe it's time to, for example." Put some back. Put some back. A little edging. A little edging. Sometimes we can use the texture of the board a little too for very light. Definitely can do more of that. No, we didn't even do anything over here, but what I kind of have in mind here is some green and then some kind of rusty grass with a few dots of live grass. That's what I've got in mind there. So, and there, I've got the cool grass here. I think I want this grass. It's going to be transitioning into muddy, maybe a little darker. Maybe a little darker. That was just, that black there was basically just me drawing the path. That's good. You know, I want it kind of dark on the bottom. That feels good to me. I'll break that up. That was an area of dark that I reintroduced. And like I've said a couple times now, see, I take this green, I'll add it to something like this. Get very interesting greens. I never really use it on its own. It's time to do this. We got to remember where the light's hitting. So we've already decided light's hitting this way. Want a little bit of that dark left in there. And now the tree in my reference is tiny. There's nothing to it. Now, I want to bring in greens here. Very light green in the back. That's going to pop just like the sky pops now. All got to pop. I guess we can take this and modify this so it's a little more, yeah, nice. A little more red maybe. Yep. Funny enough, it's making a color kind of like burnt sienna, which I could have just grabbed some burnt sienna, but I've mixed that bunch of paint. I like to use things up. I like that color. That's nice. It's a little bit olivey. So I break up my edges by dabbing with the brush carefully. I want to go a little darker with that. Redder. Darker, redder, redder, darker. That's not even going to show up. Off to the side, if you plop that dark in the middle of that pile of color, it's never going to work. Well, that's good. Just a little faux detail. Now, one of the things that defines my style is we don't do real detail. Not interested in it. I spent the first, I don't know, 20, 30 years of my life doing that. I don't want any detail. Because you know why? Because detail slows down the eye. Makes people think, but not think in a good way. Not in a good way, in a bad way. Well, maybe not bad, don't get me wrong, but there are artists that do highly detailed work, but I like the impression of detail. I like the appearance of detail. Like, you'd be amazed how many people I get coming in here and going, oh, look at that detail. And what they're really remarking on is the surface texture, the impression of detail, which is relaxing to look at. So you can see here, I didn't do a lot of green. We're going to pop a few bits of green in there, though. It's going to be really cool. And then got kind of this transitional area. So again, I can bring this color, this permanent green light, into these tans I've mixed for that transition area. That's nice. That's very nice. Transition. A little shadow there, a little something. The tree's coming out of a little clump. I don't mind some of the board coming through here. The board's really good coming through in the ground. I gotta bring this green down into here. So there's grasses. Some are dry, some less so. Break that up a little. Break it up. Okay, we're getting so close now. So close. So close. So close and yet so far. Okay, you probably didn't sign up for the singing. But then again, you signed up for my channel, and so now a lot of you are used to hearing my voice, hearing me talk. You're probably not used to, and you're used to me rambling, especially if you listen to any of the older videos. So what am I doing right now? Well, I'm thinking this patch of area here is just too, just want to break it up, put some interest there. I don't want a big kahuna shape. And I like to pick, but I don't get too picky. Leave it alone. Let it breathe is what I say. Let it breathe. Let it be a painting. It doesn't need to be a photograph. Nobody wants to look at that. Nobody wants to look at your photographic looking copy of a photograph. Trust me, don't bother. And that's a bit of an evolution to get there, but I hope you do. I hope you do. Or, you know, that's why a lot of people don't even like working with photos. It's a very easy trap to fall into. I've done it so many times that I have an acute awareness of it now. I've just failed so many times. This is why I say painting, combination of intuition and, oh, that's nice. See, that's nice. That's gonna help. Now I actually do want to go even a little brighter than this, but I don't want that line too straight back there. Oh, you know what? Speaking of Bob Rome, I brought him up earlier. You know, the best thing I learned from Bob that I'll teach to you right now is that you can only use one side of your brush to make a good mark at a time. So don't try and have every mark, every aspect of the mark you're making with your brush be great. It's not going to happen anyway. Concentrate on, like here, I'm concentrating on that line there. I'm not worried so much, and then I will pull down. Oh, got a helicopter. This is a good reason to have the black brush on its own, because you never know. I don't even know why I'm fixing this, because I might make that tree trunk another color. I kind of like black, but I like to indicate things. I like to, just as a girl walk in here, I pause the the video, and so you guys didn't hear my conversation, but yeah, she was thinking of going to art school, and I'm like, yeah, well, you can do that. Or you could just get a piece of paper and a pencil and start drawing. Because art school is not going to be a substitute for that anyway. People think there's a shortcut. There's no shortcut. There's no shortcut to being good. Sometimes a teacher can help you, that's true. A good teacher can help you. Most teachers aren't that good, I'm sorry to say. And no offense to any of you art teachers that are listening, I'm sure you're the good one. Well, it would have to be the good one. You would have to be the good one because you're watching this. So. You have to be the good one. I don't want to break that up. I know I said I was going to leave that black there, but I have a little thing called an artistic license, and I'm not afraid to use it. It means I do what I want when I want because it needs to be done. That's going to be very bright there. I knew that was going to happen. But sometimes, you know, put down something a little too bright and then you kind of work it in. Hey, you're glad you did. You're glad. This tree is a little bland, so a few little bits here and there. It's going to be nice. Oh, pardon my French again. Gosh darn it. Hopefully YouTube isn't catching that stuff. YouTube, this I said was an all ages video, and I'm sorry if I swore. Hopefully you won't hold it against me. Gosh, I don't know, guys. I think we're right. They're there now. I'm thinking. I don't know. They said it's going to be mysterious back here, but that's my dog snoring in here. That's my little dog Denny. I really should share. Well, I would share more information about Denny, but he's so cute that nobody would. That would just be inundated with requests for Denny, because nobody would want to hear what I have to say anymore. Because he's so cute, he's such a good boy. Yeah, he's snoring. Denny's been with me through quite a lot of my painting journey. He doesn't care for paintings though. He doesn't care about them one bit. He likes people. He loves my studio here. It's public access. So he loves to meet and greet, do the meet and greet. So yeah, now at this point, so when am I going to put this video up? That's what you want to know. I don't feel like waiting too long, I'll tell you, because it's a new experiment. Like usually I wait till I've done like the second pass and done a good photograph of the painting. I might not bother on this one. I might just throw it up as is. Because I'm really anxious to know if this is going to get my channel up in the big leagues, you know, with the big guys, the guys that, you know, are getting thousands, well, I'm getting thousands of hits. I got no complaints, but, you know, millions of hits. I was listening to a video guy gets millions of hits on his channel. I'm sure he's super good, but here we are. We're kind of messing with the tree a little bit. We're just doing a few little things. Most of this stuff I'm doing is not in the reference. The reference is overrated. I'm going to tell you that. It's so important, and yet it's also so overrated. Does that make sense? I don't know. But I know it's true. And I added that bit. Wow. What are you doing, Mike? You're getting crazy. That purple, dioxine purple, is so strong. The guy I buy my art supplies from is a brilliant painter of people. And he likes to do his underpaintings in dioxine purple. See, this is the thing though, don't be afraid to put a color down and then make it work, because it creates interest in your painting, you know. Don't be afraid, period. You know, assume you're going to do a crappy painting. Crappy's not really a bad word, I hope. Just assume you're going to do a crappy painting and enjoy it, enjoy the process, and then be surprised when it maybe turns out good. That's the thing, that's the way, that's the attitude. Yeah, I'm getting a little lost back there. Just the shape here needs to be modified a bit. As do these. I saw these when, after that girl came and went, these dark spots. And like I was telling you earlier on, there's a lot of times I go in dark, and you'll even see me push it darker, but then once the whole painting's done, you'll see me go in and bring them in, bring the air in, bring the air in. Oh, who could that be? That's me text. I'm going to wait on that tree in the back. I'm going to wait and see what I feel when that's dry. Maybe I'll do a lighter colored trunk. We'll see. Anyway, that's it. That is it. Now, I noticed that I was just getting ready to scritch on my painting with the knife, and then I saw that white there. You can really mess up. You can really mess up your work. What caught my eye was this little tiny bit of light colored paint. So this is my modus operandi. If it catches your eye, and you don't want it catching your eye, do a little scritch with the knife. I don't paint with the knife. That's the texture there. If I don't like the texture, sometimes I'll flick it away. Flick it away. That's the nice thing about a knife. Knives are sharp. These will get very sharp. I've got some really bad cuts off of these knives. That looks good. This area is sort of interesting here. I'm not sure what I'm up to. Might be a good place to... I mean, I want a little division there. I just don't want it to be eye-catching. Nice. Yeah, pretty happy with this actually. Hopefully you are too, and you dig in it, and you dig in getting all the information. You know, if you really like this, you know how you can thank me, is there's two ways. Guess what I'm going to say. First way, I sell paintings like this in my store right now for $100 US. That includes international shipping. I got a few. These are 5x5. That's a pretty good deal. I'm not getting rich off of that, but then again, it's affordable art, and I'm kind of into that. The painting I just sold to this nice old lady that came in, that was $1,000. Big painting. And yeah, there's some people I'm following on Instagram. They're doing the same thing, you know, small paintings, $60, $70. Big paintings, thousands of bucks. Why is that? Well, big paintings are a lot more work. A little painting like this, a little gesture here, a little gesture there, reads fine. Anyway, back to my point. You like this? You like what I'm doing? You want to help me out? Go buy a painting, for one. If you don't want to do that, join my mailing list, because one day I believe you will buy one of my paintings. It might be when you're a little, you know, better off, or maybe when you've just realized that the most valuable things in the world are paintings. Sometimes people come to that realization. And I have to tell you, though, buying paintings is addictive. I buy them. I believe in it. I believe in buying the work of other artists, because I myself am looking for that same sort of support from people that like my work, you know. Yeah, there's a lot of things you could spend your money on. You could spend your money on, you know, a nice dinner. But after you eat the dinner, and the next day after, you know, you do your business or whatever, the dinner is a distant memory. But if you'd spent that money on a nice painting, you'll have the painting every day. And like that nice old lady who came here and just bought a painting. She bought it for her daughter for a wedding gift. And she says this is going to be in the family forever. And it will. And I love that. This is one of the reasons I got out of digital art and got into making real paintings on real surfaces. So now, why am I keeping you here right now? Well, because sometimes when I'm cleaning up, I I'm not looking at the painting. So then I'm going to look up, I'll see some things that need to be addressed. The best time to address a lot of things is when, bit of texture I don't like there. I'm learning more and more when I don't like that texture, I just dig it out. Dig it out. Anyway, I'm taking a little break, cleaning my palette, and when I look at the painting, something new would jump out at me that needs to be fixed or addressed. But anyway, that was what I call in my practice the first color pass. And I hope you enjoyed it. I will, this is going to have to dry for a couple days. We'll hit it with some liquid because some of it's going to go dull. Some of it will stay shiny. The liquid will take care of that. That's going to dry for a day, and then we'll do a little more work to it. But I'm pretty happy with it, so I don't know how much more work we'll do. Might do a few more branches here. Some of that stuff is best to wait for the painting to dry. Things like tree limbs and things like that are good. This is catching my eye a little bit here. And, I might redefine that tree a little bit. I might, who knows what I'll do. I don't worry too much about it. I just load it up. Sometimes it might only be 5 minutes. I work on it in the second pass. Sometimes I don't even do a second pass. Well, I got some things in mind for this one, though. So whatever I do, I'll be recording it. And I think I'll probably release that as a separate video. So anyway, thanks for joining me. It's Mike. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. Subscribe to my channel. Join my mailing list. Carry on. Keep on keeping on.